If I do this, will it work? Oh. Wait, it might be working. Oh, it's working. Privacy says unlisted. Do I have to make it public? Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know if I'm actually streaming or not, though. Let me, let's see. I have no way, I have no, like, other accounts to check what my account is doing. Oh, yeah, I should. That's going to sound terrible if I am streaming. I don't think I am. I think I have to make it, set the privacy to public. But first, I really need to plug in this these headphones so it doesn't come through the mic. That would be good. Okay, well, let's try and set the privacy to public and see if that works. Public. Done. Save. Does that mean I'm streaming now? How does this work? Chat rate, concurrent viewers. Man, that is a lot of screen for. Yeah, that's a lot of screen for a bunch of nothing. I don't know if I'm streaming or not. I think I am. It's hard to tell. I guess I'm gonna assume that I am. This is going to be a very short stream. I was just doing this as a test because I haven't streamed on YouTube in a while. Last time I tried to do it, it was it didn't go very well. So, but I was trying to stream on two different platforms, so maybe this time it'll go better. I was just really curious about what YouTube streaming is like now. Stream is healthy. I like all this information now. That's kind of cool. So yeah, this is kind of like an experimental stream. I just hit my elbow again. Why does that keep happening? Did not have a problem before the last couple. I've just been doing it. I don't know. We'll just give it a shot. The other problem is I don't have a I don't have any sort of, there's no GOBA and there's no chat. There's a lot of things missing. There's no notifications at all. So nothing's really set up for YouTube. But yeah, we'll do like an hour stream. I'll see what it looks like. I will see and make sure the mic's working. Yes, it is. Good. We'll also add some music. I've been going through collecting a whole bunch of new music, so we might be adding like another 100 songs to the playlist here soon. There's some really good stuff in there too. And there's a few things that I just missed, like Chrono Trigger. I don't know what happened to my Chrono Trigger music, and Suikoden 2. Those are two. I guess the playlist just got deleted, like a lot of the other ones. I've just been making a list of all the different games I have looked at the music for. I'm trying to think of everything I've ever played that might have a good OST. And I think I've just about got through all of them. I can't think of anything else. So we'll add all that to the playlist, and then we'll have a nice huge collection of music to listen to. Right. So I want to show something off real quick. I drew this off stream. I haven't done fan art in forever, so I drew the Kaiser Dragon from Breath of Fire 3. I think it's cool. Though the pose is a little, I think pose might be a little iffy. What his back, or yeah, the wing on the left is doing is a little odd. I guess in my head it was supposed to, I don't know, if it just faced directly at the camera though, I think that would have been kind of weird too. I didn't want to copy the pose that's in the game. I want it to be a little bit unique. So he's standing for one. Usually he always flies in the game. I tried my best. I think it looks pretty good. I haven't done like, yeah, fan art or illustration in a while. Besides, well, I guess that's not true. The D&D thing was illustration, so I take that back. But I was being really lazy with the D&D thing. This is still a bit lazy. I haven't done like actual shading in a long time. I really need to, because I've been doing the animation, you can't really go that in depth. I haven't done like a real long one before, or in a while. So, still working on this Merman. I can show you what exactly. Well, the beach one, this is what he looks like. He's just, yeah, he's very plain looking. And actually, no, we did him on stream, the last stream, so you got to see him. I did this guy. This is the cave version. I basically made him look like an anglerfish. So he's got this little lantern on his head and just these kind of spines with stripes on them. I was going to give him more stripes, but I couldn't really think of any way to, I mean, I can put some on his leg, I guess. I don't know. I think it's fine like this. He's different enough, and he's going to be a different color. I think it's good enough. Also, he's got a super long tongue. You'll see it. It goes way over here. Which might be the size of a room when I shrink him down. Or at least it'll be like half the size of a room. So it will be, it could come off from off screen. So it'll be a cheap attack. But I'm okay with that. Every now and then you need to throw a cheap attack in to just keep the players on their toes. All of a sudden you're just sitting there and this tongue comes out of nowhere and licks you. Alright, so that's, yeah, all the line work's done. We're just going to do the masking, shading. I don't know if I can copy the shading from this one. I might be able to. So I'm going to try that. It'll save me some time. I think I will be able to. At least the majority of it. Alright. Okay, let's do this. That's good. We've got this. I think it's working. Yeah, Twitch has been acting real stupid lately. Oh my god, he's got so many little holes in them. They've been doing all this stuff with like their ad blocker, showing these purple screens, and the chat's been broken. Actually, the stream was broken earlier. I wanted to stream on Twitch. I think it's working now, but I said I was going to do YouTube, so I said, why not? But, yeah, I don't know. I just thought, I'm going to take a look at YouTube again. Now's as good a time as any. That looks a little odd where the tail is. We'll do a short stream. The problem is I know what Twitch is all about, right? I've got like Goba Works on it. I don't even know how to make Goba work on YouTube. Yeah, I've got everything set up for Twitch, and unless I'm 100% ready to abandon. But also Twitch, I'm an affiliate on it, and I don't even know what YouTube's like, if they have any sort of payment model, or I mean, I know they probably do, but I don't know anything about it, or how you apply for it, or like, I'd basically be starting over, I think. So that's something that would keep me on Twitch for now. But yeah, with everything they're doing, they're just driving viewers away. And it's even like made me not want to look at a lot of streams. Well, I got some exercise today, so that's nice. I have made a plan. I'm saying this now. I usually hate saying stuff. Or, yeah. Anyway, I've made a plan to start exercising again and to actually create a real schedule, or to be on a schedule again. So let's hope I can stick with that. I know it's a New Year's resolution to get healthy, but I'm gonna give it my best. So I'm setting like an alarm to wake up every morning, and then I'm setting an alarm for when to start working out and when the workout's ended. So basically an hour a day, 5 days a week. But I'm also including, just to help me out, I'm including some housework with that too. So I've got a couple of rooms that I've needed to empty out that I haven't messed with, and I could really use the space if I'm gonna move my workbench or my workout bench. I got no room for it right now, so I really need to clear some space. But I figure I consider that a workout too, so I might end up doing that. So yeah, I'm gonna try and stick with that, and I don't know. I'm gonna give it a week. If I seem to be doing all right, then I might create like a Twitch schedule and try and stick to it too. Though I'm not promising anything. I kind of like being random and just winging my days. I don't like commitment much. Or, yeah. I love planning out everything I want to do. But I don't like making, how would you say this? I don't like making, I don't know, a schedule I have to stick to. Or, yeah. I don't like making responsibilities. Kind of prefer to just do things when the feeling arises. And I do pretty well with it too. I mean, I'm moderately lazy, but I'm not terrible. I know people who are worse than I am. I at least keep my house pretty clean. I keep my house clean by not making any messes to begin with. That's kind of my strategy. Like, every time I cook, I just wash the dishes immediately, and then they don't stack up. I think that's the worst motivation killer when it comes to cooking is. And I got a whole bunch of dishes in the sink, so it's super important to make sure it stays empty. This guy's going to take a lot of dress up. And I've got to do this twice, which is the sad part. I can't copy it. I mean, I could copy it. Well, I could copy it. I would just have to do the spine again. I think it'll screw some stuff up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do this twice. Once for the other guy, too. We'll just focus on this one for now, though. There's a little spot there. There we go. I try to get most of it in one pass. But yeah, there's usually a lot of like little tight areas that are a bit too out of the way for the selection tool to grab. But you can see the selection tool grabs a good chunk. Also, the other thing, I don't know how YouTube streaming works at all as far as like, how do you find streamers? Like, I went and looked at the YouTube live and I couldn't find any like smaller streamers. I don't know how you would do it. We'll see if I get any viewers, but I'm not holding my breath. I mean, I know my subscribers can see it. I've seen that before. This tail is going to be really annoying. Just because it's got so many little tight spaces in there. So this whole stream is probably going to be me fixing this mask. I feel like this will definitely be an hour or more. So maybe that's just all this stream will be. Which is kind of sad. Like, I'm pretty sure the coloring and shading is more interesting. But, hey, if I gotta put up with it, you do too. Suffer with me. You didn't even see the part where I was drawing all those spines on that other guy. That was taking forever. I have given some thought about what this guy's projectile is going to look like. Did I expand that or not? Yes, I did. Actually, I can just read it. Invert. Bill. I was thinking. Well, I was looking at archerfish. I know there's an enemy in a game that spits projectiles like this. I just don't remember what it was exactly. But I looked up archerfish on YouTube because they shoot like a stream of water, so that gave me a good idea. But what I was thinking might work and might be easy is I just draw a bunch of little water droplets and then I just fire them off in a bit of a stream, but kind of like a shotgun. So they kind of like, yeah, they kind of spread out, but not much. It's very tight kind of grouping, if you know shotguns. But anyway, yeah, it just kind of fire out like a shotgun, because that's what it actually looks like when a spray goes out. Like, it stays a solid stream for like, I don't know, a second before it just breaks up into water droplets. So, and that the cool thing is that's easier than trying to draw a stream of water. So I'm gonna give that a shot. And I like the idea that it's yeah, it's just like a shotgun projectile, which I've never actually done that. So it could be kind of finicky to block that. And that makes it more dangerous, right? Whoa, something's really messed up here. Yeah, that ain't right. What happened? Right. So that arm too. Okay, now I just gotta clean all that up. No, I'm not. Oops. Yeah, I'm not using the fill tool. I was like, why isn't it filling? So I was using a brush. Okay, there's the two layers I need. Do that. This. Do that on that one. Bam. Alright. Let's go in. I'm gonna focus on the tail. I'm gonna start with the feet, but the tail definitely needs to pass on its own too, just because I think there's a lot of errors on the tail. But let's start with the feet. I don't think the feet's going to really be an issue because there's not really like any. Well, there could be some points in here when he's jumping. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be filled in, yeah. Right, how do I do that? Oh yeah, I go to the bottom. No. Well, I see a spot that definitely doesn't need to be filled in. Right here. Yeah, so I find this is better if you focus on one part at a time. One group at a time. You can find more errors. Don't look at these frames, they're ugly. Okay. Right, I think I move on to the tail. The tail's going to be a big one. Play around with YouTube a bit too. Just see what all this stuff does. And they've got emojis, but I don't know if they have emojis you can upload. I'm sure they might. I don't know how much they've copied Twitch. What is this? This is a stream marker? Okay. Highlights. They've definitely added a bunch of stuff. Webcam manage. I don't know. I'll be very curious and just looking at this later and seeing how well it looks. How do I close this? Oh, like that. Okay. I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff that they've got that Twitch doesn't have, but they're missing a lot too. There's not a lot here. Kind of excited to get healthy again. I think that's been bringing me down quite a bit, like emotionally or ego. I want to say like ego-wise. I can't think of a better word though, or way of saying it. Self-confidence, I guess. Yeah, it's been hurting self-confidence a bit. I guess, I don't know. I don't see enough people for it to really bother me. But I think it's more about like health than anything. I don't like being super unhealthy. And I definitely feel really unhealthy lately. I bought a few things to help me out too. I bought a neck massager and a back massager. It's a scarf or something you're supposed to put around your neck. I was actually looking for like a pad you can sit in, but they're really expensive. So I kind of noped out of that. But I think I might be bending over too much. Maybe I need to bring it in some more. Or I break out the standing desk again. That's probably a good idea. I don't really have anything set up for it, but yeah, standing is a lot healthier than sitting if you're going to be doing it for long hours. I don't really have a standing desk. I have a really crappy treadmill that has a nice place that you can put a tablet on. I mean, it's a really crappy one. It's like a manual treadmill from the ancient history. I don't know why anyone would ever think that was a good idea, because it sucks. It constantly like sticks, so it's literally unusable. But I hate treadmills anyway. I hate running. I did too much running in the military. It completely destroyed any enthusiasm for running I might have. I really don't like it. I'd rather bike or do anything else, jump rope or cardio. Okay, so this is the one. I think what I'm going to do here is just trace this, because he doesn't actually move for quite a few frames, so might as well just marquee it. I'm gonna grab a little extra because I don't know how much is actually filled in most of these. It should just be like that same area. Okay, let's do that. Clear, clear. If it misses anything, I'll go in and fix it. But it looks like it's getting everything. Then I cleared a bunch of frames real fast doing like that. I'm just gonna look at it real quick, but I think we're good. Well, I say that, and there's a little piece that I missed. Okay, now we're good. Oh yeah, I was talking about, what did I get? I got that little massager. I got a scale. I need a new scale. The one that I used to have is broken. So how you gonna track your weight if you don't have a scale? I also bought some hair clips, so hopefully that helps me out with that. This hair is just so annoying right now. We've definitely reached the level. I think I'm gonna just clean up these entire frames because he's so condensed, and he's not like keeping the form. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what's supposed to be there and what's not. Oh yeah, I gotta make sure I'm still watching that tail. That's the main one I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just getting all this extra stuff in these frames so they don't have to bother with them. Yeah, I'm the kind of person that likes to really lean in close. I find it feels weird to be way back here when I'm drawing. Though that keeps my posture a little better. Damn, we've already gone 30 minutes. And the cool thing about streaming to YouTube is I don't have to export the video. It just goes right into the channel. Or it should. We'll see. I mean, yeah, it definitely will. So, yeah, you don't have to do any of that stuff. I don't know. I honestly don't think I'll swap to YouTube. Not unless, yeah, Twitch would have to do, or get really dumb for that to happen. Though, you know, they're trying their best. Alright, now we're going to do the hands and the head. Okay, oh, really, the head shouldn't ever have any problems, and maybe in the neck area. Hands got a lot of issues. I think that one's good. This one isn't. I do enjoy doing a little fan art. I might want to do a little more. I don't know. When I do fan art, it's kind of like, why am I not working on the game instead if I'm doing art? But I don't know. I just like doing fan art too. Especially because I think I've gotten a lot better at it, and I want to kind of like see what I can do now. Like, I don't really get a good example of how I've improved when I'm doing the same thing over and over. I'm pretty sure that's all supposed to be empty space. It would be fun to draw like all the dragons. I can't really think of any like new Suikoden stuff I might do. I'm gonna make sure that elbow is, yeah. That needs to go. It's a cool thing about Breath of Fire. There's always dragons to draw. And I love drawing dragons, so it's just, it really lends itself well to fan art. At least for me. Plus, I've been drawing Breath of Fire dragons forever. Alright, what's going on here? Oh, I think it froze. Damn it, this has been happening more often. I don't get why it is, but if ever I bring my... Yeah, if I'm messing with like the layers and stuff too much, this happens. So what happened was... yeah, my mouse, then everything froze really. Only way to fix it is to unlock the screen Or yeah, lock the screen and unlock it. So, and then I have to restart it. I mean, this happens like, it's not that common, but it's common enough that it's pretty annoying. And it's scary because if I haven't saved in a while, I just always get the feeling I'm going to lose. But I don't lose the project. Like, I'm restarting, I'm locking the screen by basically putting it in the sleep mode, which I guess fixes the issue. And it allows me to save the project, but it'll mess up what the pen does, so I won't be able to use the pen unless I restart the computer. So at least can save the project and I'm not losing anything. Just kind of annoying to do the restart. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that deleted AnyDesk too, so I'll have to do that too. Well, that's annoying. I don't think that's ever actually happened on stream. I've had a few bugs happen on stream, but usually this happens to me when I'm just working on my own. I'm starting to worry that this tablet, I've pushed it pretty far. We've got a lot more work to do, Mr. Tablet. I need you to hang on for me. But yeah, it's starting to get like some discolored pixels and stuff. I can see it now. There's a couple like, it looks like little green, just little green pixels every now and then on the tablet. It's really hard to see because the resolution's super high on this tablet. But it is there. And it's mostly like right in the middle where I do most of my work, so I think it's just from bearing down constantly that's causing that. Alright, let me get this started again. But yeah, I use AnyDesk to basically stream my screen to my computer so that I can stream on my big computer. But y'all can see what I'm doing. And the quality is really nice. Like before this, I tried using Discord and it wasn't very good. But AnyDesk and TeamViewer, I like AnyDesk more so far. But yeah, the quality is really good. So if you ever need to do something like that, that's an easy, free way to do it. Okay, let me open this back up, wherever it is. Is way up here. I hate when it does that. Sometimes it like, I think it's ordering it by alphabetical, but it's so weird because it does that. It never messes up anything on the right side of the screen. It just sometimes inserts a project in front of the recycle bin. So many weird things. Okay, we're back. It's been 36 minutes. Well, I'd like to, I don't know, maybe get the shading done? I mean, I'd like to get the coloring and everything done. I didn't really want to do a really long stream though on YouTube, because all of this might get deleted. Or, you know, so what happened the last time I was streaming to YouTube is it only like, the stream only caught like, it kept turning on and off. Like, so it would record like 10 minutes and then it would be off for 20 and it would record 10 minutes and it was really weird. And basically it filled my YouTube subscription page. Yeah, it filled it up with videos. There were so many. I felt kind of bad. That's why I'm a little worried if I stream too long, something like that might happen again. Honestly, I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, why do I use a black background? Oh, the black background was really just for seeing if any pixels go on the inside of the drawing, like if they show up in here. The black background makes that more obvious, I guess. I don't know, but really doesn't seem necessary now that I'm thinking about it. But I guess it does make it a little more obvious, little corner pieces and stuff. Because usually they're only a couple pixels large, if they're in there. Yeah, it's hard to say. There's some in here. It's a lot easier to see when it's black. Yeah, it's very obvious. So that's why. Though, when it is black, sometimes it's hard to tell what needs to be filled in and what doesn't. So, I don't think there's any way to fix that other than just keep swapping between the two. Oh, so I've added something new to my list of games that Josh wants to play again. And that's mostly due because I keep looking at all these soundtracks for games that I played long ago. And now I'm thinking about Reciteer. I've never played that. It's such a beautiful little game. Capitalism, ho! Yeah, it's a game about like running an item shop and a RPG town. And it's just adorable. And I was looking at the OST of it, and it was just reminded me of that game. And I haven't played it in a really long time. So that's my latest one on the list of things that I would like to play again. It's getting pretty big. There's a lot of things on that list lately. I can't afford to get a new tablet. But I have really put a lot of time on this tablet. This tablet's gotta last the entire game. But I don't think it'll last the next one. So, at the very least, I hope the game makes enough so that I can get a new tablet. It's a very expensive tablet. This is like a $2,000 tablet. But it has been, well, I mean, yeah, I've been complaining about it a lot lately, but in the beginning, this thing was absolutely amazing. And I still think it's really good, despite my constant gripes. But, yeah, it's almost like I would definitely buy a new one of these if I was to buy something else. Hopefully the new one doesn't have as many issues with Microsoft 10 as this one's been having. And I don't know, I mean, I assume Wacom has changed its software a bit. To make up for that. Okay, cool. That's the mask done. And next is shading. I've messed up all my shading brushes too, so I've got to fix them. I keep doing this. I really need to make like a soft airbrush and I really just need another soft airbrush that I can constantly mess with. Now that I'm saying that, I'm gonna do it. Because yeah, constantly changing my tools around means that, I don't know, they're always screwed up when I need them for what I actually use them for. Whoa, what? All the double clicks. Look at that. We had 2 C's, 2 S's, 2 M's. Oh man, I got rid of the good C. I need that capital C. Yeah, we'll do that. So now, look, there's a pixel marker here. There's a pixel brush. I use these pixel brushes so rarely, I'm gonna throw it over here. Actually, I'm gonna clean this up a bit. So, overlay marker is really important. I do use that sometimes. Is it? No, it isn't. I don't use that one, not the overlay one. Never mind, take that back. Fingertip I definitely use. Blur and blend I use. This true airbrush is really cool, but I never use it, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Texture airbrush I use sometimes. This soft fast one, I don't use it too often. I'll hide that. What is this hard airbrush? I think this has just got like a lot of density on it, or I have no idea what this is or why I made it. Yeah, here it is. I mean, it's not doing anything weird. Oh, I see. It's sharp. It's not hard. This is a sharp airbrush. Okay, I very rarely use this, but it is a useful brush to have. I like how I've been collecting all these different brushes. I forget how to edit the name of it. Oh, it's up here. Can I click up there? Oh, I think I can do it over here. Settings of subtool. There we go. Yeah, so this is if I want to get really sharp with the airbrush. It will allow me to do that. Because the way the pressure sensitivity works is very touchy. Alright. So, we have soft airbrush, first airbrush, and custom airbrush. Sharp marker, small marker, large marker, G-pen, and sketch pencil. So yeah, these are the things I use. Sketch pencil. Honestly, sketch pencil, I mean, it's okay. It's kind of stupid now that I think about it. Like, there's no reason to sketch to make it look like a pencil. Like, it could just be a G-pen that has no stability on it, and that would probably be even better. Now that I think about it, like, I like this sketch brush in the beginning, but now that I consider it, it's kind of dumb. Yeah, I'll do that. We've got like 13 more minutes. Let's take a little side trip to look at all the brushes I use right now. So this is the sketch pencil. It's got no stability on it, so it'll do exactly what you do. It's got a little bit, it does get sharp with how much pressure you put down, so you can kind of see an example there. Which is kind of useful. I don't know, that's not really useful at all either. Like sketching, you're just like throwing some stuff down, right, and sketching out a shape. I sketch really wildly too. Like, I throw lines all over the place while I figure out shapes. So that's just what I'm like, and there's no reason for it to get real sharp, I don't think. So I might just fix this brush later. Anyway, that's my sketch pencil for now. It might get thrown out. My G-pen is just a nice smooth line with, I mean, this is the most important tool, right? And it's just a nice smooth pen, right? I think this is based off of the G pen that comes with Clip Studio, but it's just been tweaked a little bit. Yeah, it's a I got stabilization jacked up to 100, which isn't too much. Like, you can still get kind of wavy, but it does help a bit. It helps steady your line, especially when you move real fast. A lot more than this one does, right? Like, I can still do pretty smooth, but not nearly as much as if I use this thing. And I have just like a weak anti-aliasing on most of my brushes because I don't want too much to get into, just enough to soften the edges of things. My marker is just a big marker. Right now it's got a lot of anti-aliasing. I'm gonna turn that back down, but yeah, just a big marker. That's the standard marker. It's very handy for like filling in stuff, right? And filling in lots of meat, right? If I was to fill this guy in, I could fill in quite a bit of area, and then I can just kind of like touch it to get all these parts filled in. That's kind of what the marker is. And instead of changing my brush size around constantly, with just the tap of a button, you can go to a smaller marker. So I've got like 3 sizes of marker to get smaller and smaller. So yeah, I mean, I could resize the tool, but it's just way easier to make another brush that's smaller, so you can go in and get the more, you know, the smaller things. And then I have the sharp one. This one actually like has pressure sensitivity on it, but it's also still a marker. There's no stabilization on any of these brushes, so they move exactly how the mouse moves, or how the pen moves. But this sharp one allows me to get like the absolute, the really tiny stuff, because yeah, it gets tiny. So you can like work in a little crevice or something, or you can kind of bury down and get a little more if you want to fill in some more. But I only use that for like, yeah, little teeny stuff. My fill tool, I mean, I don't know what I've done with this, but I have it set up how I like it, so I can kind of show some of it. But it's just follow adjacent pixel. The close gap, I think, is set to 20. So yeah, a lot more than what the normal settings are. You actually have to manually insert 20 if you want it to be that high. Color margins at 10, area scaling's at 20. It does refer to a reference layer, so I can make like the line work a reference layer and then use my fill tool on another layer, and it will take into account those lines. And then anti-aliasing is off. So that's what my fill tool's like. Soft airbrush is just, I mean, these are pretty standard ones that come, and yeah, look how huge this thing is right now. This is because I constantly edit this brush. I use this one a lot, but I have brush density set to 25, and usually this is at about 80, which is about right for this. I want it to just kind of like fill a bit of the limb, like half of the limb should be getting affected, right? Kind of like this. And then I might grow it if it's something really big. Like this is kind of, I mean, I don't really touch it that much. I don't think it needs to be that much. If I was to do like an illustration, I would definitely mess with it. And that's why it's messed up, because I was doing that Kaiser illustration. So that's a soft airbrush. First shade airbrush. This one is usually set to 20, brush density 50. So it's yeah, it's set at like a fourth of the size of the soft airbrush, and brush density is twice as much, so it puts down a lot of paint, or at least, yeah, quite a lot for an airbrush. But this lets me just in one pass basically do my dark shading, and see, it's just done. I was really dumb, and I would do, you can't do this like when you do animation, you can't fill in like this. It'll never look, it'll always be uneven, right? It has to be in one smooth motion. You can't wiggle, and you can't pick up the pen, or you're gonna get like dark spots. Yeah, like that. It's hard to see, but there's a darker spot right there because I picked up the pen and put it back down. So that's kind of like why I do this, is I need to be able to make my shading in one pass without lifting the pen, basically. So that's why I have it in two different variations. This custom airbrush is now going to be the one I use when I'm tweaking stuff. So that's fun. That's new. Sharp airbrush, it's just the same thing as a normal airbrush. I think it goes to 50, but this one allows you to get in the sharp areas. Don't really, it's useful sometimes. I can't think of any examples now. Texture airbrush, I think I've shown this before, but it's just an airbrush that's got a texture on it. It's hard to see here, but there's a marble texture, so if you want a messy airbrush, that's the one to use. Blending, blending's a default thing, but it blends like, it's kind of hard to see without colors, but yeah, it would blend two colors together. So if I was to do like this and this, blending would blend these two together, and look, it makes yellow. Blur is the opposite of that. Well, kind of the opposite. It's gonna just like blur these two areas. It's not really gonna blend them. So see how it's like blurring them together. And this is really good for like if you attach an arm or something, but the arm's not gonna match with the body, you can use the blur to kind of get it to match. So the blur is really good. I use that one more than blend, at least. Fingertip is how you stretch stuff. So if you do motion blur, fingertip can do it really easy. I've also seen Genzo Man, who's one of my favorite artists. If you've ever seen Hearthstone or World of Warcraft, he does a lot of their fan art and cards. So he's really good. And I've watched some of his streams, and he uses the fingertip to do some like really cool like muscle structure. I've tried a bit of it, and it does look really good, but it takes, it's definitely like, it's not fast. If you do this, it takes a long time, but you can kind of like draw muscles in, and yeah, it just looks really nice. You just have to see it to understand it, I think. It's kind of hard to explain, but I have done it in some of my old pictures. I've given it a shot. I really do like it. It's absolutely useless for animation, though. There's no way you could do this. I mean, you could, but it would take you... I mean, you'd be spending a day on each frame. So, yeah, you can't really do that. Unless you're insane. Okay, so that was cool. I gotta show off all the brushes. So we'll do like a little bit of shading, I'm gonna call it. I have been thinking, I know that it's a bad idea to use black, and it turns out I don't think hard light was working the way I thought it worked. I thought hard light was something that, let's say, for instance, I'm gonna test this, but I know, let's get some colors. So let's say this green, for instance. Actually, I'll clear that. Let's go to this layer. Okay, so we got this green color, right? And then above it, if I set this to, well, actually, let's just leave it normal. So what I thought hard light did was, I thought it decreased like the color of green, right? To be more of a dark green, so it should be more like this. But I don't think it does that. So let's just see. If you use like a dark or kind of like an off black, well, let's use like less. Maybe I've just been using too much and that's why. So we'll use these three. We've got the green that we're going for, a black, and a kind of gray. So if we set this to be hard light, oh, I think I've just been using too dark of a, I've been using too dark of a black. You see how like the gray, it does work the way I thought. I've just, I fucked up and I've been using, I mean, technically this is still working. It's just a really dark green. It's so dark that you can't even tell it's still green. So it looks more black. I think I've been fucking up by using such a dark brush for my shading. Because yeah, this is how it's supposed to work, is it makes it a darker green. But even then, I mean, okay, so let me just talk about this. So there are like 3 ways to do it, the shading. Or 3 common ways at least. And I'm going to make like a new layer for this, I think. Okay, so you can either use, I mean, well, this is like the worst way to do it, I think. And this is kind of what I've been doing in a roundabout way, where you're using just a black to shade, to do shadow. The other way is to use a darker color of what you're using or what you're trying to shade in. So the reason for using hard light is it doesn't matter what color, like, yeah, what color is underneath it. You don't have to like pick individual colors. You can just use gray and it'll darken all those colors. So that's kind of like the idea of hard light. But yeah, this is shading with like green, which is actually, it looks very similar in this example. I guess that would be a lighter green. Yeah, something like that. I think I keep using too dark of a color for this. Anyway, and then the other way is to just use a different color, like a dark purple. And I think this is the more popular way for like the best results, is you go to a different color. And I honestly, I mean, that sounds good and all, but let's say, and I mean, a green dot is very simple. Let's say we have a green dot that's got some blue over here, a little of this blue, there's a little pink eyeball, and then there's red feet, right? Yeah, I don't know what the hell this thing is, but, and then, you know, there's a little circle here. So if you wanted to shade this guy in, if you're doing it like, oh, I like this example. Yeah, if you're doing it this way, so you can use like the black version, but I think this is the worst version. Yeah, this kind of shading will never really look good. Now I could set this to be a hard light layer. I'm kind of curious what it's going to do to that stuff over there. That kind of makes that one disappear. So I use something like this, and now we've got a dark red, a dark yellow, a dark blue, kind of a dark pink, dark, you know, all these colors are using a darker version of the color. So that was kind of the idea of using a hard light layer, because it cheats basically applying it's better than just using black, because if you see, if I turn hard light off, yeah, there's a huge difference between the two. That's just using that gray. The hard light just like, yeah, it darkens the colors. So that's a fast way to do like a thing that's got a lot of different colors on it. Now, keeping that in mind, if I want to use a different color, like usually if you're like an illustrator, I think you would do something like, I mean, you can use, I mean, I guess you could kind of like just shade with purple instead for all your shading. That would be one solution. Now since this is set to hard light, this won't be right. There we go. You can just use purple for shading instead of black. But now everything's going to be purple, right? Like all the shading is going to be purple. If I set this to like hard light, it just adds like some purple, some dark purple into it. I guess kind of looks... Is that better than before? I don't think so. It doesn't add like... I mean, the idea of the color is so it's more like this, to where the underside is just something completely different. I think to do this correctly, you would just have to go through a lot of colors. Like whatever the one for red is, you would have to shade it, but not with hard light. Yeah. So shade with like an orange, and then for yellow you'd want to shade with like a dark green. Right? That's too finicky for an animation. So I feel like I have to settle on the middle one. But right now I'm leaning closer to the, because I've been using too dark of a color, I think. My animations have been too dark, and that's kind of fun that I've got this far before noticing that. Like this, for example, he's got a lot of shadows, but they're very dark, they're very black. I did use a different color for his back legs, so I can kind of sneak it in some places. Yeah, I think I've screwed up by using too dark of a black for my shading. It does not... The hard light does not work very well when you do that. You know, and another good thing is if you do something like this, this guy changes color based on programming, so he's not going to be white in game, he's going to be whatever color I assign to him. So I can't really do, unless I do hue shifts, maybe that would look good. Like imagine if he was a green one and I did a purple underside, right, for the shadow. Like if I was to change his color, his shadow would remain purple, I think, or it would just get very dark and it would look terrible. If I did like a hue shift, that might work, now that I know how to do that. Honestly, I mean, all of this is not going to change what I'm doing for this game because it's too late. I've gotten too far to change now, but I need to keep this stuff in mind for later, because yeah, I haven't been paying a lot of attention. I've been noticing like the hard light doesn't seem to be doing what it was supposed to do, and now I understand why. I wonder, maybe we try it for this guy, using a lesser gray. So I've been using like a 95%, which is, now that I think about it, it's just way too much. I should be using something more like, see, the thing is, I think 50% gray is actually the gray that hard light will not affect it. So I think you need to be above 50. Probably 80% would be the way to go. So for this, we're only going to see, because we're coloring gray, we're only going to see it getting darker gray. But when I put color on it, it should change what this looks like. I'm gonna do this just as a test. I could end up redoing all the shading. Something tells me like these little corners need to be dark though, like the dark gray that I've been using, because they don't separate enough if I use a lighter color. The idea is to create that sort of separation. Which, okay, I think what I need to do then, I do want to use kind of like a near black for this shading. Like this should be a near black color because it separates things a lot better. Like this leg from the tail, this shape from that shape. And that's important for animation, like to read it. So it makes it a lot more obvious what, like where the leg is when this thing is flying by it, like, you know, a frame every few milliseconds, right? That's how you got to think about it. It's not an illustration. Like if I wouldn't shade this way normally. But okay, so that's like to get the near black. So what I do, before I would use the soft airbrush using the same color, which I think is just too dark. But then again, the soft airbrush, it kind of tones it down on its own because it's only putting on 25% of the color, right? Like this is a soft gray. It's not a really dark gray. Like it's not like this, which is 100% that color. That would obviously be too much. So honestly, does it matter? Like if I was to go to an 80%, I mean, let's go back to 20, 25. Yeah, you can barely even see it at this point. So yeah, actually, I said all that. I think I have been doing it right. Just because the 25% actually makes it a lower gray. You just got to use a lot of color. Now I've got the question. I'm gonna go back to an old drawing, test this actually, because this guy I can't really see. I think, well, this Pacadillo should be a pretty good example. He's got some color on him and a lot of shading. That's kind of like how this guy's shaded. Let's go back to his original stuff. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's his outline. His mask. I think I was using a much lighter color gray. I can see it here. I don't know what color gray that is. Let me see. That looks very light. That's 40%? Yes, that's 40%. That's 20% less than I'm using now. That's interesting. Anyway. Okay. I wonder if that's better or not. I think I should have tested all this stuff before I got this far. Somehow I have settled on the things that I've used, but I don't know if it was right to settle on that stuff either. Alright, so the hard light is right here, and that's the shading that's put on them. Gives them a three-dimensional look, separates body parts. So that's kind of what that's for. And the overlay is the color minus the shading. You can see that's really all the coloring is. And I gave him some color on his tail. That was back at this time. I was actually adding more stuff to these guys. I think I got lazier the farther along I got. But then I don't know. I say lazier. It was also more efficient too. Doing like a gradient like this is very hard to track when they don't move. But luckily this guy, he moves like every frame. He never stops. So doing a gradient for him is actually really good. If he was to ever stand still and shoot a fireball or whatever, it's just harder to get a gradient in. You have to like copy and paste it a lot. This guy just like goes up into a ball and charges. Okay, right, so that's what that looks like. And this is with the overlay on. Now, have I been putting the overlay in the wrong spot? That's what I'm kind of wondering now. I feel like the overlay has to be, the hard light has to be above the overlay. I definitely changed it, but for the better, and that feels like for the worse. Now that's a lot better. So I think all in all, I've been doing everything correctly. And I've just doubted myself. Yeah, I mean, look at it. There's a big difference. And this one is way more vibrant. And you can see, like in the shell, it's not just gray. It's kind of like a much darker whatever flesh tone this is. Honestly, I still think that's best. It's still not as good as, say, using purple for your shadows or whatever, but you can't use purple for every color. So I still, like, I get that you might want to shade with different colors, but for the animations, it's hard to do that, and it takes a lot of time if you want to do that. And I just don't think it's worth it, so I'm going to keep doing it this way. I feel better about myself now that I've looked at all this. I kind of felt like I've been doing this incorrectly. Especially doing Kaiser Dragon. I was looking at like the way they did shading on him, and he goes through a lot of colors. Basically just dark purple to a normal purple to a blue to a light blue to like a very sort of almost white. Same thing goes for like his pinks. The pinks go through like purple or dark purple to pink, bright pink. And the chest bit is, it's not just gray. It's not just a darker yellow. It's actually kind of like a green color. So the shading is in green. Oh my god. My throat's fucked up right now. Trying to hold it back. Because I'm talking a bunch. But yeah, just looking at this made me think maybe I've been doing shading kind of a bad way. But I think I'm fine with it. I've definitely been ignoring, like, I can't add this much detail to an animation. It would just be like, it's hard to stay consistent with it, and if it's too busy, the animation can look kind of off because it's kind of hard to understand. So I think, honestly, after taking another 30 minutes to think about it, I'm kind of happy with what I settled on here. I do think it's kind of the best that you're gonna get for, like, if you want time to speed or quality to speed. I think this is a pretty fast way of animating while still getting a pretty good quality. If you want some more like three dimension to your, yeah, if you want some more, like, I don't know, it's kind of adding some third dimension to my drawings, right? You got to be careful when doing this line, is that you don't go like too far away from the line, right? Like, here's an example. I trace it really good and it looks nice, but if I accidentally get away from it, you could do like that, and that was kind of extreme. Honestly, you might not be able to see that. I gotta keep in mind the camera's covers up that bottom corner. But yeah, bit like that. It's very easy, and that's like, yeah, that's a little too much, but sometimes you can be going and just get just a little too far off without noticing it, and it, yeah, it creates that like light spot. So you really want to put, you kind of want to like bleed onto, just be like, I don't know. You want to kind of like veer to the side of the line that you want to be darker, but you're just riding the edge of the line, right? If you go too far one way or the other, it starts to look bad. So kind of takes some practice to get the shading looking good. Okay, right. So after saying all that, I'm going to shade this guy. I do like this. It's so fast. And I didn't really want to change anything. Yeah, I can go through here, do each of these little segments and separate them a bit. Like I said, this isn't shading, this is separation. There's a difference. So yeah, it's less about light sources, it's more about making it easy to understand. So separating these toes, separating the nail from the foot. This weird knee that I've created here. Sometimes, like when they have these muscle lines, I'll do those as well. Just gotta like start really light and get darker. Just start really light at the point. And sometimes these can be a little finicky, but you can do it. This right here is a questionable one, whether it has like a separation or not, this part. Because it blends in really well. This is definitely, because it's kind of like pulled up a bit. And if I want to get real fancy, I can kind of like draw these lines in, even though the outline doesn't go there. I try to avoid stuff like that though. I mean, it does look nice and you could do it. But it's also really easy to screw that up, and it's really hard to copy that into the next frame and the next frame and not screw it up somewhere and make it look really bad. So I try to kind of avoid that and just stick to the highlighting the lines. I think I am going to follow this just to add a little. And then what I'm doing here, I'm doing this kind of as an example, but I wouldn't actually do it this way for the entire thing. But I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So what I would do instead, because doing it like this, I mean, you could do it per frame, but I think it's better to, let's take this neckline or this head. I will just trace the head and trace the head and then trace the head, trace the head, trace the head, trace the head, right, all the way through it. And then once we've done a full loop of tracing the head, then we pick something else, like I'll do the whole chest because it's just a big chunk. So I'll do the chest, I'll do the chest, I'll do the chest, I'll do the chest. That keeps you more consistent throughout. If you're jumping all over the place, you might shade certain things differently or forget how you did things. If you're just doing it piece by piece, very easy to stay consistent throughout the whole thing. But I want to shade this first one before cutting off the stream at least. I don't know if the eyeball needs anything. I could do something like this, but nah, it's no good. It's not necessary. Alright, so that's kind of like the dark outlines. And then the soft airbrush is just for giving a third dimension kind of shape to each of these limbs. It also separates a little more too. And this one is a little more like shading, to where I'll only do the parts that are like the bottoms of things. So like the bottom of this arm, and then the bottom of this bicep, instead of going like, you know, to the top. Bottom of these nails and this arm, and then the bottom of this head. And again, I would do this the same way, of do the head through the whole thing, and then do the chest through the whole thing. Sometimes one, like separating limbs, is a little hard. And this is a good example of why this sharp airbrush could come in handy. Let's set this to 25 and 80. Okay, that's taking too long. Damn it. It's just a little tiny movement. It goes like in tens. Okay, so using the sharp airbrush, I can get real soft here and then grow it up by putting more pressure on it. That way I'm not shading the arm too much, right? I don't want it to be too dark. That's kind of a use for the sharp airbrush. Yeah, the soft one, it's always painting at a circle, so it's kind of hard to get. It's kind of hard to go around floor limbs to get back things. Okay, so right, that's kind of like what the shading's like, and I think I showed it pretty well in that last one of like how it works. So it all seems a bit weird, but I think it has a good effect, and I have reaffirmed my thinking. So that's cool. Alright, anyway, this was an hour and 30-minute stream. I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna look at this YouTube stream and see how well it went. Maybe I'll re-look at restream or something later. I don't know if I'll be streaming on YouTube much. But it was fun to do. Try it, you know, for a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on this off stream, and then I don't know. I might stream every now and then. We'll see. I'm kind of like trying to get a schedule, work it out. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. Later.